Hi again, everybody. It's your old pal, the History Nerd. I am back in the man cave, and in this video, we are going to unbox the John Wayne Stageline hat, which is one of two, yes, two, count them two, I said two Stetson hats that a friendly and courteous delivery driver brought to my home earlier today. So let's quit screwing around and get busier than a barefoot boy on an anthill. Now, I told you that this is one of two hats that I got. I have a very close friend who is most kind, and they sent me for Christmas a $500 gift certificate to the Stetson website, along with a note that said, this ought to keep the videos coming for a while. So I got on the Stetson website and I ordered two hats off the bat, and I have a third that is being shipped even as I speak. And let me say, it was the first time I have ordered directly from the Stetson website. Usually I go through a third-party retailer. And it was a really good experience. They offer free shipping. They did not charge me sales tax. And the good thing about the Stetson website, if you see a hat you like and it's not in your size, you can click on your size and enter your email address. And the moment that they get that hat in your size in, they will send you a link that you can click on and go directly to purchase it. But you have to act quickly. I wear a giant 7 3/4 size. I've said that many times. I have a ginormous head. It's hard for me to find hats in ginormous head size. But the Stetson notification worked flawlessly. Of the three hats that I wanted, took about a week for two of them to pop up and said they're ready. So I ordered both of those, and then the third I ordered earlier today. So I recommend going through the Stetson website, and with $500, I had enough money to buy three hats. So thank you to my special friend. You know who you are. So we've got our Stetson box open. Inside is our invoice from Stetson and the hat for the John Wayne Collection Stageline 11 Stetson hat that I ordered. Now let me tell you a little bit about the John Wayne Collection. A few years ago, Stetson partnered with the John Wayne family, his children. They still have all of his hats from all of his movies. Most notably, they partnered with Ethan Wayne, who was John Wayne's youngest son. I believe he was 16 or 17 when his father died around 1977, I believe. They gave Stetson full access to all of John Wayne's hats. And together, working with Ethan Wayne, they developed the John Wayne Collection. Some of the hats are named after his movies. This is one of them. This is the Stageline 11, which of course reminds you of his first and most famous early role, Stagecoach, which came out in 1939, which we'll talk about in a minute. But first, let's go ahead and take a look at the box. All of the hats in the John Wayne Collection come in a really cool box. Top of the box says John Wayne by Stetson. The back side says handmade in the USA, Stetson legendary hats. This side has a picture of John Wayne with a quote. The quote says, "Courage is being scared to death, but saddling up anyway, John Wayne." The back side has the label for the hat, and this side has another photo of John Wayne, along with a quote that says, "The West, the very words grow straight to that place of the heart where Americans feel the spirit of pride in their Western heritage, the triumph of personal courage over any obstacle, whether nature or man." John Wayne. So this is not the first hat in the John Wayne collection that I have reviewed. If you watch my channel, or you can go back and look, I will link it in the description below. I previously reviewed the John Wayne Peacemaker hat from the John Wayne Stetson collection. That is a hat with a Gus crown. It is an awesome hat. I love that hat, and I am hoping that I will love this Stageline 11. Now, as I open this, let me say that the hats in the John Wayne collection are not replicas, exact replicas of his movie hats. Some of them are similar to those. There's some cavalry hats that are similar to the hats he wore in his cavalry movies. But they are inspired by hats. And this is one of the inspired by hats. As I said, it's called the Stageline 11, which brings to mind the 1939 movie Stagecoach, which made John Wayne a star. John Wayne had tried to break through in an earlier movie. It didn't work, and he got relegated to B-movie westerns, the kind of two-reelers that they used to show to kids on Saturdays way back in the 20s and 30s. He'd gotten relegated to being a B-movie cowboy. But in 1939, John Ford offered him a role in the movie Stagecoach, which was not only a hit, but in the very first instant that you see John Wayne, who plays an escaped outlaw called the Ringo Kid, he spin-cocks a Winchester rifle. And everybody who saw that movie said, that big handsome fella is a badass. I want to see more of him. And Stagecoach, the 1939 Western, made him a star. The hat that he wore in Stagecoach in 1939, he wore in most of his movies all the way up until 1959 when he made Rio Bravo. By that point, after 20 years of constant wear, the hat had seen better days, and he retired it to a glass case in his home. There's a famous photo of John Wayne with Sammy Davis Jr., and Sammy Davis Jr. was wearing that hat. In fact, John Wayne let Sammy Davis Jr. borrow that hat and wear it in the movie he made called Sergeants 3, I believe with Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin. But you can see in that photo, the hat has seen much better days. Now, all of John Wayne's movie hats are on display at the John Wayne Experience in Fort Worth, Texas, which is a museum dedicated to John Wayne. It was started by his children, and I am dying, it's on my bucket list, I'm dying to go visit the John Wayne Experience. Now look, before we jump into the hat, the John Wayne 11 Stageline hat, let me make something clear. I love John Wayne. My father loved John Wayne. And some of my favorite childhood memories are sitting in my father's chair with him on Saturday and Sunday afternoons as we watched old John Wayne movies together. Now, the last time I posted a review of the John Wayne Peacemaker hat that I talked about, some jackasses in the comments got on there and said, John Wayne was a chick in a hawk. He was a conservative Republican who didn't serve in World War II, but he supported Vietnam and he was a bad guy, and you are an idiot for liking John Wayne. Well, to those jackasses, and I use that term with much kindness and affection, to those jackasses, let me say that if you don't like John Wayne, don't watch his movies. If you don't like John Wayne, don't click on History Nerd Man Cave videos that have John Wayne in the title. And if you don't like John Wayne, which is admittedly your God-given right as a freedom-loving American citizen. If you don't like John Wayne, as far as I'm concerned, you may go take a giant crap in your hat. So, now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about the John Wayne 11 Stageline hat. This hat retails for $150 on the Stetson site. It is a wool hat. It's a 4X wool hat. The box refers to it as a wool blend. I think that means it's a wool felt blend. For 150 bucks, you're not going to get beaver or rabbit in a hat. You're going to get a wool hat, which is nothing wrong with that. Wool hats are great. You can wear those in the rain, the cold. I mean, they will stand up. Wool hats are a lot tougher than those more expensive hats, I think. But it is a 4X wool hat for $150. It has I put a note up here because I knew I would forget. It has a 4.5-inch crown and a 4-inch brim. And it's got a cattleman crown. Notice I didn't say it's got a cattleman crease. It's got a cattleman crown. Here is the difference. If you have a hat that's got a cattleman crease in it, it will dip down here. And the top of the hat will look like two boobs sticking out of the top of your hat, or like one of those P-word hats that the women wore at those anti-Trump rallies. There's a kind of a U-shaped dip in the hat if it's a cattleman crease. If it's a cattleman crown, the front of the hat looks square, but if you look at the top of the hat, that's where you see the indentations and you see the dip in the top of the hat that looks like you could fit a giant Pez candy in the top of the hat. So it is a 4.5-inch crown, 4-inch brim, cattleman crown. It's got this wide leather hat band, and quite frankly, upon first look, kind of iffy on the wide leather hat band. I like the open road hat bands, the more understated hat bands. This one's a little wide for me, but we shall see. On the side of the hat, it's got a metal concho with two leather laces coming out of it. And usually Stetson has some kind of stamp on the metal accoutrement that says Stetson on it. This one does not. It's just a metal concho. All right, let's look inside the hat. And you know, these John Wayne hats, y'all, it's under the hood. When you look inside the hat, this is where they are really beautiful hats, worth every bit of the $150 price tag just by how beautiful the inside of the hat is. Here on the side, it says Stetson, made in the USA. The front of the hat has a John Wayne quote in gold print on it. It's the quote that says, "Courage is being scared to death, but saddling up anyway." Now look, let's admit it, if you've worn Stetson hats for any period of time, especially if you live where it's hot and you sweat a lot, this printing is probably not going to last a whole long time. It always wears off. I saw a guy who paid for a 100X Stetson hat, and he posted a picture on social media. He'd worn it out outside, he'd sweated in it, and when he took it off, all the 100Xs that were on the band had wiped off. You couldn't even tell it was a 100X hat anymore. I felt sorry for that guy. But then again, who's going to look inside your hat and count the X's? But understood that these probably won't last forever. On the side, it says John Wayne, and it's got his initials, the JW. And then to me, the lining is the pretty part. Let me pull the sticker out of here. The lining is the best part. As I said in the video where I reviewed the Peacemaker hat, the inside lining is pretty, it looks like the inside of a fancy New Orleans bordello. And you can see around the top, it's even got gold pinstriping going around the very top of the crown. It's good looking inside of the hat. So that is the John Wayne Stageline 11 hat. It's also got the label in here. I always make fun of this label. This is the label that California makes Stetson put in the hat. It's a warning label. It says, wearing this hat may cause cancer or reproductive harm. So how you're gonna get cancer from wearing a cowboy hat, I was told if you wear a hat, you can keep from getting cancer. But apparently wearing cowboy hats will give you cancer and it will make your testicles shrink up so you can't have children. So just be wary of that according to the state of California. So I think I have covered just about everything. Let me look at my cheat sheet I put up. Yeah, I think I've covered just about everything. As I've said every time I do these videos with my setup here, and by the way, I've got a new camera, I've got a new microphone I'm working out. If things look different, sound different, I'm kicking the tires on this whole new setup. But with the setup I have, I cannot see what I look like. So when I put this hat on my head, you will see what I look like before I see what I look like. So if I look like an idiot, you know before I do. So let's get the Stetson 11 Stageline, move the hat stand. We will pull John Wayne front and center, and I will put the hat on. Man, that's a good fitting hat, y'all. It feels good. I don't know how it looks, but I can tell you this, it feels good. There is my John Wayne 11 Stageline cowboy hat. I hope I look good in it. I hope I look like John Wayne as Ringo Kid in the movie Stagecoach and not like Cowboy Curtis from the 1980s Pee Wee Herman show. So I guess we've covered just about everything. Don't forget to go look at the other John Wayne hat that I reviewed several months ago, the John Wayne Peacemaker. But look, folks, that's the video. If you liked this video and you like the other videos on my channel, I need you to do 3 things for me. Give me the Fonzie thumbs up, hey. Hit the subscribe button and then ring that bell so the next time I fire up the old YouTube gizmo, you will be the first to know. Let me close this video like I close all of my videos, asking all of you to be good, be well, be healthy. And remember, if you do not like John Wayne, do not post nasty comments under my video. You need to be busy taking a massive crap in your hat. So folks, with that, let me say goodbye, God bless you, and we'll see you next time on History Nerds Man Cave.
History